So, did that work? Is the Wi-Fi even good in here? I don't know. This could be terrible. This could be an absolute failure. As you can see, I'm in completely different surroundings, and I'm relying on you in the chat to tell me if this is a complete and utter waste of time. Because I'm here on holiday in Santa Ponza. I have the most makeshift setup going to try and do a wee live stream before I head out for a few pints this evening. And I'm quite intrigued to see how everything goes. You know, I've got the new laptop out. I've got the hotel Wi-Fi. I'm using my phone as a camera. I've got the carry-on mics. Everybody seems to say it's okay. I'm chuffed at this, by the way. This took me an eternity to set up. You should see this. I look as though I'm about to fucking gate crash some bank. I'm a hacker or something. But anyway, hello. If there is any technical difficulties, if there is anything wrong, just please make me aware in the chat and I will try and address them as we go on. But we are here tonight to get a little catch-up live stream to do with all things transfer related. It's a kind of live version of the Celtic transfer talk. I didn't get landing here till about, if I froze now, there we go. I didn't get landing here till about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I went out for a wee walk and such, went down the beach, etc., had a couple of drinks. I'm now here in the room before I head out for the night. And we have quite a bit to catch up on, don't we? We have quite a few things to talk about, including the news surrounding the centre-back that Celtic are reportedly very, very close to signing. So we're going to talk about that, and that's probably what's going to kick off today's episode. So I'm not going to be on for as long as I normally would be. I won't be here for the full half an hour. We'll probably only be for 20 minutes or so, but I still want to get all your questions, all your points, hopefully with as little a jumpy live stream as possible. So shall we start? And shall we start with that big news that Celtic's centre-half target, Hayato Inamura, is set for a Celtic medical. Now, that has been touched upon quite a bit these last 24 hours. Late last night, Anthony Joseph of Sky Sports confirmed, he has confirmed this, Bailey. He confirmed last night that Celtic are indeed in talks with his club in Japan about the possibility of signing the player. And now reports in Japan are suggesting that he is, in fact, ready for a medical, that he will be coming over to at least the United Kingdom. We don't know Glasgow or London or yet, sometime soon to complete his medical and to hopefully become a Celtic player. Now, this is one that when I spoke about it the other day on the channel, I'm still unsure about. I think the jury is out on Hayato Inamura right now, and I don't think it's going to exactly be one of Celtic's blockbuster signings this summer. So I see a lot of people getting, you know, having a hurricane and getting their knickers in a twist on social media about it. But look, listen, from the dawn of time, or at least in this modern age of football, I should say, Celtic have always signed young foreign players that might or might not make an impact in this first team. There is some who've came in, made the grade. There are some that haven't. You know, I can think of young guys in the last few years that came in and made a big name for themselves that we never heard of, that were playing at maybe not the highest level. You know, Jeremy Frimpong, who was playing at Premier League 2 level, came in being one of the best fullbacks in the country, now one of the best fullbacks in the world. A lot to do with his development at Celtic. I can think of guys like Moussa Dembele, who hadn't really cracked into the first team at Fulham, came in, started playing first team football, sold him on for a big bit of money, and you know, the rest was history with him. There's also been, on the flip side, guys that I think people are drawing the comparison with because of the situation. Guys like, you know, Yosuke Ideguchi and Yuki Kobayashi. And it's very easy to draw those comparisons. But what I would say is, just to ease any form of anxiety or annoyance surrounding this signing, is that I don't think this is going to be Celtic's only defensive signing. If it is, then wow, right, okay, we can storm Parkhead with the torches and pitchforks. I would be fully on board with that, but I really don't believe that that is the case. I believe this is Celtic bringing in somebody who could be an option, maybe sooner rather than later, but somebody who can come in to just at least develop at Celtic and maybe 1 year in the very near future be an option. It won't be a big transfer fee. I think we can all make that assumption. The guy only graduated from university and signed for the first team last July. He's barely been a senior player, and the team he's playing for right now are in the relegation zone in J League. So I think we can all take the assumption he's going to come in for a relatively cheap fee, and we might not see him even that much throughout the course of the competitive season. So I think it is Celtic just bringing in some form of project. And let's just make one thing crystal clear. The club are perfectly entitled to do that as long as they do their main business alongside it. There is nothing wrong with Celtic signing quote-unquote project players. There never has been anything wrong with that at Celtic. The problem is that people get angry when they focus on project players and they don't bring in the players that are actually going to improve the first team. So yeah, we're going to have to just wait and see what happens. And imagine that he's, well, in fact, we did get confirmation that he is very keen on the move. He wants to join Celtic, so there should be no issues on the player side. Anthony Joseph's exact words were that we are in talks with Alberix Nagata surrounding his transfer. Discussions progressed well yesterday, and he is keen to join the champions. He's a left-footed centre-back who can also play left back. I mean, who knows? This could end up being somebody that is in the pecking order behind Kieran Tierney at the left back, but we'll just need to wait and see. I think that there's, because we're so, this is my final thoughts on it all, because he will become a Celtic player, right? He will. This is going to happen. He is going to sign for Celtic. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. Some people are very angry about it, but I'm okay with that. But this is what my final thoughts about it are. This, if it wasn't so early in the window and there wasn't still lots to do after it, wouldn't they get as much divisive attention as it is? If this was somebody who came in late in the window when we'd done our business, nobody would bat an eyelid. They go, right, that's cool, he's there to make up depth and numbers, he's there to be a project, he's there to maybe develop in the future. Or even if Celtic signed this guy on some sort of pre-contract agreement months ago and just done something like that, you know, that wouldn't be his question. I think there is just a general anxiety that lies there that he's going to come in and be seen as the partner for Cammy Carter-Vickers when he quite clearly doesn't look like that caliber of player yet. So just keep that in mind. But he looks as though he's signing for the club. As Mackenzie's just said in the chat, it has happened very, very fast. It has been a very quick turnaround with the situation here surrounding Inamura. So yeah, hopefully he develops into the first team player that we need as quickly as the transfer has come around. But we'll just wait and see. And we'll get to some questions about it all later on in this live stream. The only other big it's been a quiet day. I actually didn't really feel the need to come on here tonight from Santa Ponza to give you some sort of transfer update, because I'm sure you've watched all the other channels. I'm sure you've read all the articles and blogs already. My opinion is all I'm really chipping into all of this, and that's what the channel's here for. But it has been a quiet day. There hasn't been all that much development. We still await the official announcements for Callum Osmond and Benji Nygren as well, which we know are coming in the next week. But the only other bit of news that came out today was surrounding another centre-back, and it's a centre-back who currently is at Celtic, that being Mike Nawrocki. Now, he looks as though he is definitely leaving the club now this summer. We did talk about this a few weeks ago, that there was a club in Poland that were circling him and looking at him as a possibility. Well, the club's chairman, I believe it might be, let me just check this, sporting director has confirmed that they are in talks with Mike Nawrocki to sign him this summer. So the side is Pogoń Szczecin, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Don't battle me, any Polish Celtic fans. Thank you. They've confirmed that they've opened talks to sign Mike Nawrocki. Their sporting director, Tan Kessler, said that we have talked to Mike Nawrocki from Celtic. Not much else on top of that, but that's the line that you need. So it's still not confirmed in what sort of manner this might be, if it's a permanent transfer, if it's a loan transfer, if it's a loan to buy. From what I've heard, it sounds like it will be a loan to buy, but there isn't any full confirmation on that yet. Look, I don't mean to be that guy, because I know we were all desperate, especially towards the end of the season, to see Mike Nawrocki come in and get more chances. I don't mean to be that guy. The reality is, whether you like it or not, his Celtic career is done, evidently done. Brendan Rodgers doesn't fancy him for whatever reason, despite the fact he was in charge when we spent £4 million on him, and now he's going without barely making a dent in his Celtic career. So he is moving on, and that's that. Look, I would have loved to have seen a bit more of him, but the truth will come out eventually. I think that something will be said about what actually went wrong. I know that he's looked fine every time we've seen him, but there has to be, and I choose to believe the manager and thinking there's got to be a reason why he's not in that team. And I know it's very easy for us to go, well, he must be better than Scales or he must be better than such and such. Once again, I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing. But, we don't see him as much as we see Scales. There's a very good chance that if Mike Nawrowski made the same amount of appearances as Liam Scales has in the Celtic shirt, he would be getting the same amount of stick as Liam Scales gets. But we don't see him that often. He absolutely 100% merited more opportunities at Celtic, especially going off the chances he got at the tail end of the 24-25 campaign. But it's not going to happen. He is going to leave the club. It looks like it'll be a loan to buy option, and that is that for Mike Nawrowski. So yeah, that's essentially it for today. That's the big stories. I see people asking about a transfer fee when it comes to Inamura. There is no talk of an official transfer fee as of yet, but it won't be very much. If I was to make an educated guess, I would say something in the region of £1 million, which once again would be very shrewd business from the club. It would be, what's the harm in throwing £1 million at it? I mean, there is numbers flowing around. I don't think it'll be anything more than £1 million when all is said and done. So anyway, let's get into the Q&A portion. I said I won't be here for the full half an hour tonight, so I do want to get to as many questions as I possibly can. We'll start with Murray, DM McDonald, who says, Inamura is fine, but with Nawrowski, Lagan, Bielka and Welsh all likely to be away, I still feel we need another centre-half. I agree. I think we need another centre-half, and I think we'll sign another centre-half. If you want my honest opinion, I don't think it ends. As I said, I think this is very background business from the club and future-proofing, perhaps. I think we will get somebody else, but I totally agree with your point. Boy Bar said, this table's wonky. Would you miss Kuhn if you left? I just think he seems disinterested half the time. Just my opinion. I would 100% miss Kuhn. I think he's a great player, and I don't like seeing any great players leave Celtic. I've accepted that's the reality. We need to accept that, but I would be gutted to see him go, because he is a really talented and technically gifted player. And I get that the second half of the season he didn't look as good as the first half, but he still chipped in with something like 10 goal contributions from January onwards. And he was still chipping away at it. And I don't think that he was the only one guilty of looking like he was a bit more disinterested. I don't think he was disinterested. I just think it was hard to replicate the form of the first half. He set the expectations so high for himself. But I would be gutted to see him go. I think there's a chance he could go, but we'll wait and see. Do you think we'll still sign a winger like Balikwisha or Angula? Yes, I do. I think if Balikwisha is still going to come to Celtic, I've been saying that for weeks now. I think that's a nail on. If it's not a nail on, I think something will happen at the last minute to stop it from happening. But yes, I do believe we'll sign another winger. And I think that is the apparent plan as well, is to sign another winger. If we never had a negative experience with Kobayashi, nobody would be grilling this signing. And as for his height, Cannavaro was 5'8", Baresi was 5'8". Now, I'm not saying he's anywhere near that level, but give him a crack. Yeah, listen, look, he's 5'11". If he was an inch or two taller, we wouldn't be having these conversations. It's just the fact it starts with the number 5. I do think it's a slight concern, especially in Scotland. We've seen bigger defenders get bullied. We've seen the likes of Julian and Trusty get a tough time of it against physical strikers, which obviously does raise a little bit of a question mark. But if you're good enough, you're tall enough. And I think the only thing I would worry about is dealing with the amount of crosses that Celtic need to deal with. We're not good at dealing with crosses as it is. So that I do understand why there is reservations about his height, but it's not the end of the world. And yeah, I think you're right. I think the Kobayashi stuff is probably not helping with the situation. Sonny, look, listen, I try, mate. I try my hardest. Can't say I don't try. The thing is with you, and I spoke about this in a members live stream, I think, not long ago. Like, I'm very fortunate this is my job, and I would never complain about it. I get a really good fun time doing this. I'm very lucky. But you can't put in a holiday day like you would with a normal job. I don't make fucking £6,000 a month doing this. I make a very much average wage, most average full-time livings would. So you can't just take a day off. It's not like that here, sadly. Let's see, what else have we got? Let's get a few more things before I tune off for this evening. We'll be here for another, maybe 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes. Rodgers apparently planning to use Tilly in pre-season. Yeah, listen, I expected to see him in pre-season. I think it could be his last chance, though. I don't think Marco Tilio will be in the Celtic squad next season, but I think we'll see him in pre-season. And even though things come out like, oh, the manager's saying this or that, they've got to say, they're not. The thing is, if Rodgers is directly asked about Marco Tilio, he's never going to utter the words, oh, he's off. I don't have any interest in using him. He's shite. Let's get rid of him, you know? And you usually get all those lines. And it's the same when somebody's leaving, like Matt O'Reilly. Oh, he'll still be there. He'll be there in pre-season. You know, it's managers are media trained. They don't confirm or deny anything unless, you know, it calls for it. But we'll wait and see. Thoughts on a defensive midfielder? I've said it. Yep, I think we need one. I like McGregor in that role. I think he could be better, but I think more importantly, he could be using support in the bigger games. So that's why I would like a defensive midfielder more than anything. I don't doubt Callum McGregor's abilities for a second, but I think that he needs a support player in there, somebody with some physicality to their game. I'm not talking a Roy Keane brute or anything like that. Just somebody with a bit of power, a bit of defensive, you know, energy in them. We'll wait and see. And that's one that I hope more chat comes up about over the next few days or something. You're right, because there's only 6 foot. I think that means that, you know, he forgot his name already, Inamura. I think that means he's only like an inch or two shorter. So, you know. What do you think about the striker situation? Will we go back to Maida being there? Or we're signing out and out centre forward? Well, the chat's quiet, and the chat is more dominated by wingers. I have a feeling it could be Maida, which, let's be real, is there a big problem with it? Maybe for some, because it's not what Rodgers said he wanted back in January, but he used Maida up front and he was class. I've said, I'm not going to backfire my word. I want a ruthless goal scorer. And Maida is amazing. I love him. But come back to the examples here. The cup final, the last minute against Rangers in the derby. I want a striker that scores those opportunities. I don't doubt how good Maida is, but I think he's missing that ruthlessness in his mind that top strikers and natural strikers have. So should we go for a backup right back? I would like one, but I don't think that's a priority for Celtic this summer. Simple as that. Maida, Ida, Osman, Nygren, maybe Balikwisha, striker. It won't happen. It sounds like a lot, doesn't it? We're asking for a hell of a lot of the club this summer. Push the boat out for Miller. 10 million is okay, considering we spent 11 million on poor Engels. Bloody poor Engels. I don't think he's poor. I think he's rolling in it, to be honest. He's getting quite a decent wage at Celtic by all accounts. But listen, I hear it. I said that I think 10 million is maybe just a bit much for Miller, but the more I've seen people convincing me in my comments section, the more I'm led to believe that I would be fine with spending £10 million on him. But it's obviously a big risk, and it's whether or not the club are willing to take that sort of risk. That's a completely different conversation entirely. I don't think the club will spend 10 million on Lennon Miller if that is the price. There's nothing. That was all just paper talk that Sunderland are going to launch a £10 million bid. Nothing has came from it yet. So it might just be nonsense anyway. But I don't think Celtic would try and match that. I think they'd let him go. That's my honest opinion. Nothing annoys me more than the body language, please. Just because Kuhn isn't a badge thumper doesn't mean he ain't trying. The team of Hull were not as good as the first half of the season. I'm fully on board with you, Lewis. Fully on board with you. I don't think that Kuhn is, as I said, I used the same words earlier. I don't think Kuhn is the only one guilty of looking a little bit lacklustre in comparison to his first half of the season. I think there was a few players on that Celtic side that were like that. There is obviously a lot of talk of this as well. I'll bring this one up. Have you heard the rumours of Ferguson coming in on loan? A lot of news here in Ireland about it. I have. We spoke about it on the channel last week, very, very briefly, when it was in its kind of infancy. Ever since, there's been a few more things flying around. I'm still going to be that pessimist and say I just don't see it. I would love to see it. I'd take it happily, especially in a loan, when you can maybe come back and reevaluate better striking options when the time comes you to let Ferguson go. But I just don't see it. I don't see it at all. I think he'll end up somewhere else in the Premier League because that's where he is right now. And he's been, at one point he was getting valued as a £100 million player. I think his agents will be pushing for him to stay in England. I think it's important for him as a player to build that brand back up in England. so that he can catch the eyes of bigger teams. And it's not like he can't do that at Celtic, especially if he can. But the thing is, the agent will be weighing up risk and reward. And the risk is that if he comes to Celtic and doesn't play well, that might derail things for a few years. If he goes to Everton and doesn't play that well, Celtic will be on the horizon next year because they know they can throw out those links again. So that's why I don't think it will happen this year. I don't think so. But I would love it. Nygren should be here by this time next week. 10 million for Miller is a risk, but we'll end up kicking ourselves like we did with McGinn and Hickey. If he plays well, he can make a lot of money on him. Got to be signing more Scottish talent. I agree with the whole sentiment of that. And once again, I think I've been convinced more and more. I'm starting to go 10 million, bugger it, throw 20 down on him. No, but I am getting more towards the side of just spending the money on him personally. But we'll just need to wait and see. I mean, then you go, it seems like it still is a split one. Some people, I mean, he's not done enough in the last 18 months of his career to warrant huge, we'll talk about Ferguson here, of course. I don't think he's done enough in the last 18 months for me to be like massively, oh yeah, go and get him. Like, I'd take him or leave him, but I'd be very excited about the potential that he once had, maybe coming to Celtic. Two different players, Gary. Two very different players. That's all I'll say to that. But I do agree. Yeah, he is a better player than I think than what we got at David Turnbull, to be quite honest. Right, a couple more questions before I get going. I'm choking for a pint here. Can you not hear my dry mouth? My droof is charging here for a pint. Would I sell Hatate for 15 million if we were meant to get Miller for 8 to 10? That's a really tough question. The talk is, and I think McGowan touched on this in an article the other day, it was one of those articles that you have to pay the Mail, the Telegraph, or whoever he works for nowadays, to read it. But I think that one of the things that was getting said in it is that Hatate still wants to move on and test himself. And if that is the case, there's no hope in him signing a new deal. I'd probably take 15 plus million. I don't want to lose him, though. I don't want to lose him. So I'll leave you on that. Ladies and gents, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go for a pint. I will be here as frequently as I can be up until Tuesday when I leave and get back home. Of course, the fixtures are out on Friday, so I'll definitely have a video out about that, looking over the fixture list and where all the big games are. But until my next video, my next live stream, whatever, take care of yourselves. Enjoy your week. It's been a pleasure, as always, ladies and gentlemen. And God bless. I'll see you all next time.